Hey, welcome to lesson, week 4, but we're on a new lesson, unit 5, week 1. Okay, here's the thing, guys. We're going to be switching around all of this stuff a lot. Oh, that glare on my glasses. All right, let me put my glasses on top of my head. Anyway, we're going to be switching around the lessons a lot just because this is such an unusual time, and unfortunately we can't be together, but we're very good at rolling with the punches and going with the flow and doing the best that we can even though we're apart. So anyway, I just wanted you to be aware of that. I know I've had a few questions on my end of like, why are we always skipping around? Well, because things are unusual right now, and we're just doing the best that we can for you. So anyway, I want you to open up your reading notebooks, your language arts notebook, wherever you take your notes for this. And we're going to put on a brand new spanking page, holes on your left, margin at the top. You know how I like it. We're going to put eraser, U5L1 at the top, okay? And that's going to be our heading. So this week we're going to be talking about problem and solution. So let's talk about, problem first. But before we get into this, I want you to know that we're going over this, but every story has problem and solution, okay? It's not like some stories have it and some stories don't, or it's hard to find or anything like that, because it's not. Here's the thing, guys, is problem and solution is in every single story, in every single one. If you don't have a problem or solution, your story is awful. Sorry to say it, but it is true. I mean, it truly stinks. It's like this. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a story is going to be great. Ready? Once upon a time, a princess went over to her mom's house, had dinner, watched a movie, then they had ice cream, then the princess went home and went to bed. The end. Oh, it's bad, right? It's like, okay, why did you just tell me that? I don't care, right? People, when they write stories or when they tell stories, there's a problem involved. And with every problem comes a solution, right? So there's a problem, there's always a solution. Now we've got some fancy words for problem and solution. One, the fancy word for problem is called, conflict. And if I'm writing, I want you to be writing too. Sorry, I'm not used to writing because I don't go to school and write with you guys. I'm on my computer typing, just like you guys. So we're doing the best we can. Make sure your handwriting is nice and neat and legible so you can read it and look back at your notes later on when you need it this week. Okay? Now, let's talk about what the problem means. Okay, when you're finding the problem, you're looking for what the characters want to do, change, or find out. Okay, that's how you can figure it out in the story. What the characters want to do, change, or find out. Okay, I was going to run into my screen, so I kind of went up kind of crazy. You keep them on lines, just like you should be. Okay, so the opposite of the problem is the solution. Okay, so an antonym, opposite. The antonym to problem is solution. The antonym to solution is problem. So we are going to write down here solution. Now, I wish I could see your hands, but does anyone know the big word for solution? It actually has the word solution in it. Resolution. It's resolution. Okay. So when there's a resolution or solution to the problem, all it is how the problem is solved, right? So how problem is, I'm really writing at an angle today, huh? Crazy, but that's okay. All right, So here's the other part that I want you guys to know, okay? Feel free to pause me if you need to pause me. Okay. You are going to be expected to come up with the events that lead up to the solution. Okay, so characters just don't have a problem and then go, solution, done, yay. No, there's actually things that happen to them or um, happen in the story that evolve and change that the characters are then able to find out the solution. So you must be able to figure out, we're figuring out events too. I think there was one more thing that I was going to tell you, but it's actually just figuring out events, and or we can call them steps. I like to call them events. So you're figuring out the events to how they solve a problem. Okay. So your graphic organizer could look something like problem, event, solution, right? Something like that. Okay. So I want to take you back to school. Think back to school. Think back to the fall. We talked about problem and solution before. And you know what we talked about or what we watched? Ormy the pig. Do you remember Ormy? Oh, he wanted those cookies. Look, I'm going to bring them up on mine just so you see what I'm talking about. Ormy the pig. Do you remember this? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can play it a little bit. Yeah, remember Ormy? So, I'm not going to play the whole thing because what I'm going to challenge you to do is, whoops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. What I'm going to challenge you to do is after I give you my lesson on problem and solution, I'm going to challenge you to watch Ormy the pig and try to remember back and see what his problem was and figure out all the steps to his solution. Okay, so today actually we're going to be talking about um, the Gruffalo. This is one of my favorites. I read this for the first time when I was in college, I think. But anyway, oh, such a great one. So I'm going to read this to you, and we're going to find out what the main character's problem is and how then he is going to fix it. All right. I promise I'll show you the pictures when I'm done, okay? A mouse took a stroll through the deep, dark wood. A fox saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have lunch in my underground house. It's terribly kind of you, Fox, but no. I'm going to have lunch with a Gruffalo. A Gruffalo? What's a Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Well, why don't you know? Whoops, sorry guys. Trying. He has terrible tusks and terrible claws and terrible teeth in his terrible jaws. Where are you meeting him? Here by these rocks. Oh, sorry. And his favorite food is roasted fox. Roasted fox! Oh my, Fox said. Goodbye, little mouse, and away he sped. Silly old fox, doesn't he know? There's no such thing as a Gruffalo. On went the mouse through the deep dark wood. An owl saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Join me for a tea in my treetop house. It's frightfully nice of you, owl, but no. I'm going to have tea with a Gruffalo. A Gruffalo? What's a Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Why, didn't you know? He has knobbly knees and turned out toes, and a poisonous wart at the end of his nose. Where are you meeting him? Here by this stream, and his favorite food is owl ice cream. Owl ice cream, toot woot, toot woot. Goodbye, little mouse, and away the owl flew. Silly old owl, doesn't he know? There's no such thing as a Gruffalo. On went the mouse through the deep dark wood. A snake saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come for a feast in my log pile house. It's wonderfully good of you, snake, but no, I'm having a feast with a Gruffalo. A Gruffalo? What's a Gruffalo? A Gruffalo? Why, didn't you know? His eyes are orange, his tongue is black, he has purple prickles all over his back. Where are you meeting him? Here by this lake, and his favorite food is scrambled snake. Scrambled snake! It's time I hid. Goodbye, little mouse, and away the snake slid. Silly old snake, doesn't he know there's no such thing as a Gruffalo? Oh, but who is this creature with terrible claws and terrible teeth in his terrible jaws? He has knobbly knees and turned out toes, and a poisonous wart on the end of his nose. His eyes are orange, his tongue is black, his purple prickles all over his back. Oh, help. Oh no. It's a Gruffalo! My favorite food, said the Gruffalo. You'll taste good on a slice of bread. Good? Said the mouse. Don't call me good. I'm the scariest creature in this deep, dark wood. Just walk behind me and soon you'll see everyone's afraid of me. Oh, sure, said the Gruffalo, bursting with laughter. You'll lead the way and I'll follow after. They walked and walked until the Gruffalo said, I hear a hiss in the grass ahead. Oh, here comes the snake again. It's Snake, said the mouse. Why, Snake, hello! Snake took one look at the Gruffalo. Oh, dear, he said, goodbye, little mouse, and slid right into his log-piled house. You see, said the mouse, I told you so. Amazing, said the Gruffalo. They walked some more till the Gruffalo said, I hear a hoot in the trees ahead. It's Owl, said the mouse. Why, hello, Owl. Owl took one look at the Gruffalo. Boo-hoo, he said, goodbye, little mouse, and flew right up to his treetop house. You see, said Mouse, I told you so. Outstanding, said the Gruffalo. They walked some more until the Gruffalo said, I hear some paws on the path ahead. It's Fox, said the mouse. Why, Fox, hello! Fox took one look at the Gruffalo. Oh, help, he said. Goodbye, little mouse, and ran right into his underground house. The mouse said, Gruffalo, now you see, everyone is afraid of me. But now my tummy is starting to rumble. My favorite food is Gruffalo Crumble. Gruffalo crumble, the Gruffalo said, and quick as the wind he turned and fled. All was quiet in the deep dark wood. The mouse found a nut, and the nut was good. The end. Okay, so the Gruffalo, did you love it? I know, it's so good. Okay, anyway, so we need to figure out the problem and the solution for the Gruffalo. There's probably lots of different problems that the mouse ran into, and we could do it that way. You could do one big problem and solution, an overall problem and solution for a story, or characters go through a lot of times small problems and solutions. Like, for example, if we were going to do the small problems and small problems and solutions, we would probably say, like, okay, the mouse he ran into a fox. Okay, and the fox wanted to eat him. You wanted him to have him for lunch. But then the solution was, well, the mouse made up the Gruffalo, right? Okay, so then the next problem would be he ran into an owl, right? And the solution was that he made up a Gruffalo. Then the next problem would be he ran into a snake. And the solution was he made up a Gruffalo, right? You could do that for all of your stories. You could, because characters don't just have one typical problem, they have multiple problems. There's like one overall arching problem. And that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? So, first off, I want you to make up a little bit of a graphic organizer with me. I'm moving my computer a little bit so I can um, write easier, hopefully. And let's start with, let's do boxes, I guess. So, we need to title this. I'll put the title in here first. The Gruffalo. And then I need to move this down a bit so I have more room to write. Okay. And we're going to start here and we're going to say, okay, the characters. And you can probably figure this out. I mean, here's mouse, obviously. We have owl, we had fox, we had, whoopsie, fox. We had, oh, snake. Goodness. I just read the story. And of course, Gruffalo. Right? Okay, so then we have setting. So what is the setting of the story? Well, they were in the woods. And we could even be more descriptive, which I like. We're going to say deep, dark woods, right? Then we're going to get to problem. Now, I kind of prepared my notes before I started videoing because I wanted to make sure that I had the right problem. And at first I'm like, well, okay, so the problem is that things want to eat him, or the problem is that he's wanting to stay safe. And then I started thinking, I'm like, yeah, well, because he actually wants, that's what he wants. He wants to stay safe. And so if he wants to stay safe, what does that make the woods? That makes the woods dangerous, right? So I go, okay. So the little mouse wants to stay safe in the dangerous woods, right? So we're gonna put that. The mouse wants to stay safe in the danger. Oh man, hold on. Too far ahead of myself. Danger us woods. Okay. So then our let me scroll this down a little bit. Are events that take place in the story, right? So we're gonna put I'm gonna put my events in blue just so it's a little bit different and nothing runs together. So one of the events that took place is he came across a fox, right? Excuse me, and he made up a Gruffalo. Ran into a fox. Made up a Gruffalo. And we could even say, like, ran into a fox, ran into an owl, ran into a snake, and made up a Gruffalo, right? But then, what else happened? Because the solution wasn't the Gruffalo. Because at the end of the story, what happened? The Gruffalo was actually real, right? So the solution can't be the Gruffalo. So then what? What happens? Well, once he runs into the Gruffalo, he then has to prove to the Gruffalo that he's scary, right? So the Gruffalo, let's say Gruffalo witnesses the animals running away. Now, so this kind of tells us what kind of mouse that this little mouse actually is. Like, he is one who's kind of sneaky. He thinks smart on his feet. He is clever, I would say. Um, so what happens is events, when a character has a problem, the events that come after that until they find the solution, those events right there are actually um, are actually telling you what kind of character we're dealing with now. Like what's their personality like? Like what kind of person are they? So um in this case, the mouse, I would call him clever. I'd call him smart. He's a little tricky, right? Um so I would say that. Now let's talk about the solution. Okay. So remember, let's go back to our problem. Now they have to match. The problem and solution has to match. So if we have one thing as the problem, then our solution has to match the problem. Does that make sense? So if our problem says the mouse wants to stay safe in the dangerous woods, what's our solution to that? How does the mouse stay safe in the dangerous woods? And I came up with a solution that I think kind of encounters everything. The mouse ended up at the very end becoming the scariest thing in the woods, right? Because even the Gruffalo then at that point, and the owl and the fox weren't afraid of him, but then he had the Gruffalo, so he was a very smart mouse, and excuse me, excuse me, the mouse ended up becoming the smartest and scariest, I would say, animal in the woods. So let's write that. Whoopsie, I have to have my pen out. The mouse ended up becoming the scariest, and I'm going to say and smartest, because he wasn't really scary with the owl and the fox and the snake, but he was pretty smart. Animal in the woods. This is an N, guys, not an H. You know what? I'm just going to rewrite it in, okay, the woods. Here we go. All right. So that's the end of our very first lesson. So now that we have this new program from Mrs. Renforth, thank you, Mrs. Renforth. Now that we have this new program, we are actually able to continue recording. And I really think it would be beneficial for you just to get all of your notes down all in one lesson, that you don't have to watch two separate videos to get all of your notes, that you can just watch it in one video. So we're going to continue to do that, and I'm going to continue to teach. But I want you to hit pause, take a minute, take a break, go to the potty, do anything you need to do, get a drink, and then we'll be right back ready to rock and roll with the second part of this, okay? All right, I'm going to take a pause here too. Whoops, there's Ormy. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you. Ormy, you can watch Ormy the pig again. Watch him, figure out his problem, his events, and his solution, okay? All right, take a breather. All right, guys, did you have a nice break? Okay, so let's get back to our notebook. I want you to draw a line. I'm going to draw mine black. You don't have to draw a black line necessarily, but draw a line underneath the Gruffalo, and let's get started on our next thing. So this should be review. This next part is simile and metaphor. Now, the really cool thing is they both mean the same thing, almost, okay? So they're almost, but they both do the same thing. They both compare two unlike things. So we can even put that down, comparing for both. Compares two things. Compares two things. Okay. Now the difference is the simile compares two things using two special words. If it is comparing two things and uses one of these two words, guess what? It's a simile. That's how easy it is. So it compares two things and they have to use the word like or as. Okay. I guess as doesn't need to be capitalized. Let's try this again. There we go. Now, the metaphor, okay, it compares two things, does not use like or as. Metaphors are a little bit harder, I think. Similes, pretty straightforward, compares things like or as, good to go, right? But metaphors are more like this, more in-depth kind of way of comparing things. It's not so like her her smile was as bright as a summer day, right? No, it's like um, I have an example, so we're going to use it because I think metaphors are kind of hard. So let's look at these. Okay. Oh, I've got one. It's kind of like, okay, what about she's the apple of my eye? Well, that would be a metaphor because it's not using like or as, and it's saying they're the apple of their eye. Okay. So let's do an example here. EX. Okay. Let's do this one first. The classroom was a zoo. There we go. So there's our sentence, and we need to figure out, is it a simile or a metaphor, and we need to figure out what it's comparing, right? So the classroom was a zoo. Okay, so I can already tell you it's comparing the classroom to a zoo, which is not good. That's not a good thing to be described as, okay? I want you to know that as students. I want you to know it's not okay to be considered, be called a zoo. So this is actually, here's another thing we need to look for. It doesn't use like or as. Nope. So it's a metaphor. This is how much I miss you guys. I make my own drum rolls. It is a metaphor, okay? And why it compares the classroom to a zoo, and it does not know like or as, okay? So the classroom was a zoo is a metaphor because it compares the classroom to a zoo. So it compares the classroom and the zoo, and it's saying that they're alike, right? But there's no like or as on this. So I'm going to roll down here, and I've got one more example for you. Let's do it in blue again. Example. Ooh, this one's about Mrs. Hagen. Mrs. Hagen was so excited. Oh, sorry. I thought I was blocking the camera. That she let's erase that. Let's get this better. that she was popping out of her seat like a toaster waffle. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. Mrs. Hagen was so excited that she was popping out of her seat like a toaster waffle. I can see her doing this. I can see her being that excited. Okay, so now we need to see what are we comparing here? Well, we can't just say we're comparing Mrs. Hagen to a toaster waffle. Almost. We're comparing her excitement to the popping of a toaster waffle, right? Her excitement. She was so excited that she was popping out of her seat. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's her action of her popping out of her seat that is compared to a toaster waffle. So it's actually not excited at all. You know what it is? It's her popping out of her seat. Oops, out of her seat. Popping out of her seat and toaster waffle. That's what it's comparing. Oh man, that one even got me for a minute. Okay, so Mrs. Hagen was so excited that she was popping out of her seat like a toaster waffle. What is it comparing? It's comparing her popping out of her seat like a toaster waffle, okay? So we'll put that down. Now, the next thing we need to look for. Does it use like or as? Yes, right here it is. There's the special word that we've been looking for. Like, I probably should do it in a different color so it makes it more obvious, like red. Like, there it is. Ta-da! Okay, so this one, I need more room. They don't ever give me enough room. Okay, so this one is a simile because it compares Mrs. Hagen popping out of her seat to a toaster waffle. Whoops. Compares Hagen. Whoops, that's a H. Let's see if I can erase some of this. Wait, what's going on here? Mrs. Hagen popping out of her seat to a toaster waffle, like an Eggo. Do you guys have those? Do you eat a lot of those, like Eggo waffles? Okay. Anyway, now what else do we need to put in here? We need to put that it also. You put uses like. So that's how we know. That's the key right there of how we know it is a simile. All right. Okay, we've got one more thing to go over, and this is super, super easy because we just did it, and I don't know. We're just doing the best we can, guys, but we're going to draw another line. We're going to go this genre. Guess what? You won't believe it. It's realistic fiction again. And I am going to, I want you to pause me. I can't believe, but if I was in class, I'd go, oh, no way, Jose, you should know this because we just did it. And I would say, all right, if you were me and you had students, what would you say is the note? What would you say is realistic fiction? So take a minute, pause me, take a minute, see if you can write down what you think realistic fiction is, and then I'll go over it again and you'll see if you're right, okay? All right, take a minute. All right, welcome back. Let's see if you were right. So realistic fiction is a made-up story, and it could happen in real life. It's fiction. I think that's about it. Did you get it right? I'm so proud of you. Okay, so get a hold of us if you need anything. That's all I have for you this week. Okay, get a hold of us if you need anything. We'll be happy to help however we can. Okay, we love you, we miss you, we want to talk to you. Please ask for help. Don't just give up and say I'll look at it later. No, just ask, because guess what? We're here for you and this is what we want to do, okay? We love you, we love you, we love you, we miss you. We're so proud of all the work that you've been doing. Um, Stay great. You are important. You are awesome. And we love you. Okay? All right. Toodaloo. See y'all later. Oh, I got to figure out how to close this thing out. Okay. I figured it out. Love you. Bye. It didn't stop. Love you again. Bye.